Retro.
And welcome everybody to another episode of the Animaniacast.
Eating outside. Can't believe I let myself be talked into a picnic.
How can you complain when we have 7 different types of jams?
Jams are for traffic, toves, and hippie bands.
Welcome everybody to everyone's favorite podcast. It's Looking at Looniversity. That's right, it's this spin-off series of Talkin' Tiny Toons, which of course we all know is the sister series of the Animanicast. And today we are looking and talking all about the long-awaited 10th episode from Season 1 of Tiny Toons Looniversity. That's right, we finally got through this season, the first season. We're going to revisit all of our favorite jokes and any little cultural references that we might stumble across. And of course, in the end, we're going to give this episode of Tiny Toons Looniversity a water tower rating. I am Joey, and joining me are my co-hosts. There's my brother Nathan.
Jams are for traffic, toes, and hippie bands.
And across the country in Georgia, there's Kelly.
I actually had written that line down.
Oh!
That was a good line.
I stole it first.
You did.
Best line of the episode.
Because if Joey was going to ask me, what was my favorite part of this segment or whatever, of this episode, I was going to say that.
Well, there we go. I think that pretty much sums up our review of episode 10. So,
thanks for listening.
Good night, everybody. No. Yeah, today... Yes, we're going to be talking about episode 10. It's called The Show Must Hop On. They're all doing a play. But if someone were to ask you about this episode, I don't know, just to describe it, just a few words. That's all they need. Nathan, what would you say?
It's like the final episode of the season.
Oh, very good description. And Kelly, what about you?
Oh, why do I always forget you asked me this question?
You could just identify what the episode is, like Nathan did, instead of describing it.
Well, it's funny he said that, because I thought there was still another episode left after this one for the season.
Season one's done, at least.
Okay, that goes to show what I know, because when I pulled it up, it looked like there was another episode. So.
There are more episodes.
There's more.
There's more for season 2, but...
And a spring break special.
It's about a play.
It's about a play. Here's a story about a play. Okay. It was about a play. And there you are. I mean, what else do you need to know about it? That's pretty much it. So good night, everybody. Nathan, tell us. This has 2, of course, as we all know. It has 2 release dates. There was a release date when it came out on Max on September 8th, Friday, September 8th of 2023, way back in simpler times of 2023. But it also had an air date on Cartoon Network, November 4th of 2023. So, Nathan, why don't you give us our Looking at Looniversity, Ooh, that's like I keep giving a new title each time because I always forget what I called it the previous episode. So this one's going to be called Looking at Looniversity Trivia Theme Song.
This is the story of some dates. Those dates are September 8th and November 4th. Those dates echo in my mind like a favorite song's chords. And to top it off, we got some facts for each of the dates. Let's all relax. Yes, this tune's good. And we love the sound. And we're grooving along. And we're covering ground.
Yay! I was saying, Nathan's looking for an out. Is he going to be able? Is this song going to end, or is this going to go on for another 20 minutes?
There's no end to this. This is a story about a play, right? There's and so I got some theatrical facts for September 8th. In 1922, it's the birth of stage and screen actor Sid Caesar.
I saw Sid Caesar's professor uniform from your show of shows at the Smithsonian Museum, and I was so excited.
Oh.
I said, "That's Sid Caesar's outfit, kids," and they went, "Who's Sid Caesar?" And I was like, "He's a funny guy. He died. He's dead. Never mind. Go ahead, Nathan. What else we got?"
Before your time. 1975, the jazz titans Frank Sinatra, Ella Fitzgerald, and Count Basie make their Broadway debuts in the concert at the Oris Theater. So that's some thing. I don't know. 1977, Zero Mostel, star of stage and screen. He dies at the age of 62.
Wow.
Notable works being, of course, The Fiddler on the Roof, and A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, and, of course, Mel Brooks's film, Producers. Yeah, I was
Max
like, I know that name.
Bialystock. Yeah, I think he was. He wasn't in the movie Fiddler on the Roof, but
No, he was in the original Broadway cast.
Broadway
and
of Fiddler, and Funny
yeah.
Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum.
Mhm.
But 62, that's crazy. And what year was that he finally died?
1977.
77, yeah. And 67 or whatever that was when he made The Producers, he already looked 62. He already looked pretty old. There was people aged much faster back then. And but have you ever seen the original Producers, Kelly?
No.
Totally worth your time. It's very influential on some of the Animaniacs humor, I remember. Like, have you ever been on a summer cruise? was a line that Dot said.
From the Producers.
And that's from the Producers. So anyway, very funny movie. I love that movie.
Oh, and then I have some November 4th facts. These are just some miscellaneous whatever facts. Diddy and Matthew McConaughey have their birthday on November 4th, the same year, 1969.
Wait,
and
Ralph
Macchio.
you say Diddy?
Macchio?
Yeah.
Did you just say Ralph Macchio?
Macchio. Ralph
Thank you.
Macchio is also born on this
I'ma
day,
bite you on that.
1961. Yeah, Matthew McConaughey and P. Diddy are the same age.
We're not bringing
Ralph
up P. Diddy on
Macchio.
this show.
We're not bringing up him. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he's
No.
now just Diddy anyways. But
I was so in love with Ralph Macchio that when I was a little girl, I'd play like school, and I'd make my brother call me Mrs. Macchio because that was my teacher name. And I have found like old notebook papers with Mrs. Macchio on it. So anyway, I thought I was going to marry him when I was in second grade.
Final season of Cobra
I
Kai
actually
coming up.
am not caught up with the previous season because it was leaning so heavily into the third movie, and I hate the third movie with a passion.
It did, but I haven't. It's nice for me because I haven't seen any of the movies, so all I know is that the third movie is bad. So I didn't care. I know. I still gotta watch
The second
it.
one is so good. I mean, the first one's so good too, but I love the second one.
I've only seen the first one.
The stakes are higher in the second one. It's got Gloria Love by Peter Cetera.
I don't mind when shows, even Cobra Kai, if it's bringing up the weakest of the film, as long as it's making through its efforts maybe makes the movie better, because that's kind of what like Star Wars does. I think a lot now. Dave Filoni likes to focus, like he made the prequels a lot better with the Clone Wars, and I think he's doing a good job with the sequel trilogy now, with taking little loose ends and incorporating them into the TV shows and everything right now, and it just lifts it all up. So I'm all for like them even talking about the stuff that people don't really like that much, as long as it helps lift everything up to a better thing.
I think it's supposed to. I don't know if it'll change my opinion of the third movie, but yeah, I think, and some stuff they retcon, like maybe for the better. So yeah, I don't know. I need to finish it and catch up because, I want to watch that when it comes out.
They have one more Karate Kid movie coming out, I guess. Well, who knows after this, but they also
I don't know anything.
kind of a spin-off movie of Cobra Kai.
Well, I won't say I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
But it's supposed to be interesting because I think it's supposed to kind of combine like the Will Smith Karate Kid version with like the original Karate Kid. I mean, they're all
Jackie Chan be in it?
They're all working on it together. I think so, maybe.
That would be cool. I like Jackie Chan.
It's crazy. It just seems like, okay, we're going to take all the Karate Kid properties and mash them all together and see what we come up with is what I got out of it, but I could be completely off base.
I know that there's a lot of people wanting the next Karate Kid to have some sort of importance in this last season.
The woman,
Hilary Swank. I was going to say Jennifer.
I haven't seen that one actually.
It has its own cult following, I guess you could say. I think most people don't consider it a good film, but still, that doesn't necessarily mean there aren't fans of it.
I should watch it at least just for Pat Morita.
Yeah.
Because I love Miyagi-san.
Yeah. So there you go. Well,
speaking of movies, I have the final November.
One more day. I was going to say, Nathan, do we have any more information? What's our last piece of trivia thing?
2016, Trolls and Doctor Strange came out, and in 2022, The Weird Al Story. Do you remember that movie? These are all movies.
Wait, okay. The Weird Al Story with. Wait, I know there was the recent movie, but that's
in
not
2022.
Oh, oh gosh. Oh, okay. I missed the date. What was 2016?
2016, Doctor Strange and the Trolls movie both came out on the same day.
That Trolls movie. God, right when I forget about that.
When you said Trolls, I had something else completely different pop into my head.
When you said Strange, the combination of Doctor Strange and Trolls, and then I started thinking of some weird 80s or 90s movie of Trolls in it. And
it's the Trolls. It's Justin Timberlake do a song for that or something.
Yep.
Got this feeling in my something. I don't know. What
he was drunk the entire time.
I already sang my song for today, so
let's just do it. Let's just keep singing the entire. There's no songs in this episode. We have to have some more music.
Mm-hmm.
More
It seemed like
frogs and
there should have been
dogs.
some musical. It seemed like it was a musical, but then they never did a music.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get into our discussion of the actual thing that we're supposed to be talking about. Which, if we count the bonus audio that we recorded before recording this, we've been talking for 40 minutes about everything else but this show. So think about that, folks at home. We've been talking about a lot of stuff that is nothing about Tiny Toons Looniversity. So I think it's about time we're excited.
Here we go.
And we're so pumped to do it. So here we go. Mm-hmm. Let's go ahead and talk about The Show Must Hop On. And The Show Must Hop On was written by Ben Seaman, and the storyboard was by Giuliamari and Valencia Spates. It was directed by Lauren Andrews, and Snipple did the animation on this one. Well, Kelly, what happens here in the first part of The Show Must Hop On?
Okay. Well, everybody's all hanging out outside, having a picnic, and Plucky doesn't seem to be really into it. But Buster talks about how they have all these different kinds of jams, which is where that line came from, where Plucky says jams are for traffic, toes, and hippie bands, which we all established that was a funny line. And then Granny comes over the loudspeaker and is reminding them about auditions for the Wabbit season.
Today's the day, Looniversity players. A reminder about the reminder I sent out last week, reminding you about auditions today for our annual ACME Loo production of Wabbit season.
Wabbit season! It's the annual student play about ACME Looniversity's first freshman class, which included all of the icons that went on to define tuning as we know it. Granny, Elmer Fudd, the random cactus, and Bugs Bunny!
And Babs is going to be the director, and so she's super excited about that. And so they all start to audition for the parts that they want to play. Obviously, Buster wants to audition for Bugs and thinks he should be Bugs because, he's a rabbit. So it's kind of obvious. And Fifi is auditioning as somebody named Lola.
Lola Bunny, who was she's from Space Jam. She's the one that was the chef.
Yeah, I haven't seen Space Jam.
Yeah.
But Hampton wants to be the cactus because there's some random cactus involved, and he wants that because there's no speaking lines. And then he says a cute line that he had been vegetation in 17 school plays growing up.
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of cute. He's very proud of playing vegetation. And, Plucky also wants to be Bugs because Bugs is the lead, and Plucky's always wanting to be he's main character energy. Let's just put it that way. And so he thinks he should be Bugs, and no one wants to be Elmer. He's kind of cast as the villain and everything. And then Babs, they go on stage, and she's watching from the audience and everything, and watching as everybody performs their different desired roles. And Dizzy, for some reason, is he's doing like Walk Like an Egyptian, which I thought was interesting. And I was disappointed they didn't use any portion of the Bengals song for that.
Well, they don't have that budget.
They could have done a parody.
Sound like they don't have the talent for that. The Bernsteins aren't working on this show.
I would have appreciated that. I needed some musical accompaniment to that dance move right there.
Yep.
Because I was there when that song came out, and I love it. So I was like, opportunity missed. So yeah, that's basically it. They audition, and Babs watches, and then we see what happens.
We will see what happens. Okay, let's go and talk about cultural references. Not really anything much that I can see that did it. Nathan wrote the ants are marching ... like the song. Did they actually play the ants go marching song?
They didn't play the song. They played a marching sound.
Again, the opportunity for a short musical reference that was not picked up on. It should have been, but it wasn't. Titles a reference to The Show Must Go On, a saying and a song by Queen.
Yep.
The episode has the least amount of references of any Tiny Toons episode ever. Wow, Nathan. I think that is cool, trivial.
Every episode, and I was like, this one only has four.
Definitely the ones that we reviewed, at least, right? So
yeah, this one doesn't have a lot.
Doesn't have a lot. Yes. So I'm going to stop talking about the references because there wasn't really much of anything there. But where there's things, I mean, Kelly mentioned some of the things right there that amused her, but Nathan, is anything up here that made you laugh or smile?
So the whole thing about the four founders, I was like, okay, this is interesting. We have Granny, Elmer Fudd, a random cactus, and Bugs Bunny. I was like, okay, maybe it's like the four founders of Hogwarts. We've got like the Gryffindors, which would be like Bugs Bunny, the Hufflepuff, which would be like the cactus because it's like herbology or something. Ravenclaw would be the Granny because she's like a smart woman, and then Slytherin would be Elmer Fudd because he's evil and a villain. And everyone in Fudd Hall would be Slytherins. And
no, wait 1 second though. I thought they were showing them as the first class of Acme Lou. Not that they started it, and that's what made me confused too. It's like, okay, wait a minute. When they first showed them, and I never really because they never really show the play. They kind of just show a line and a person walking and says a line.
And the cactus has a meaningful thing. You don't quite know what the cactus does, but I guess we can talk about it in Act 3.
We'll talk about it in Act when it comes. But the audience loved it. The audience got a great reaction from the audience. We'll talk about how great that cactus scene is. But that does confuse me because I was like, wait, were they the students that were at the first year of Acme Lou, or were they the first teachers that started? It's and what I didn't
they say
like
they're
about
the freshmen, but yeah, it's like
so then they were kids going to campus. It doesn't make any sense. And what annoys me about that whole setup, the initial setup of this episode with these statues, is that just like what I'm doing right now, I'm thinking too much about things that I shouldn't have to think about. It doesn't matter. Like in the original Tiny Toon Adventure show, Acme Looniversity was just, these are the teachers. These are movie stars that are now teachers teaching you how to be loony. They didn't go to Acme Looniversity years and years and years ago. They started this up just like it's in the original series. It always sounded like they started it up 5 years ago or something like that. They also broke the fourth wall constantly in the original show. where they would talk to the audience like, "Hey, Toonsters," and they would talk like, so they know, and not only that, but they know that they're on a work of art, right? They know, they say it in the
they break out of their
cell, their animation cell. So they know that they're cartoon characters and that there's an outside world animating them, and that there's also an outside world watching them. That opens up the playing field so much with comedy and like layers to it. Whereas this show is just like, well, the show they focused on the wrong thing. I think from the inception of this show, where it's like, well, people are really going to be interested in how the university started, and we got to talk about how these were the people that were the first class of. Well, that opens up a whole other can of worms. Who taught Bugs Bunny how to be funny?
Who taught the teachers?
Yeah, who taught the what? so how far are we going back? They were funny since 1933, where this stuff happened, and so what? Why?
Yeah, I don't know what year this is their freshman. Because I rewatched the little part just now. Yeah, it's like these are the founding classmates or whatever.
Y'all know what though? Y'all know what? It ain't that serious.
It ain't that serious, but why bring it? It's stupid. Okay.
I don't know.
Look, I know this is a stupid conversation, but when I see the thing two times, and the first time I watch, I go, okay, sure, whatever. And then the second time I watch, I go, wait a second, whoa, pump the brakes. What?
I also wonder, like why is Babs the director? Like, did she have to audition for that or something?
I did write that down in my notes right when at the beginning where she's directing the ants immediately. And I'm like, what is she majoring in? Because they never really, is she majoring in animation direction or something like that? That
maybe
it really came out of nowhere.
That's why she's the director of this. Yeah. It's always a student that directs it.
But it feels it really feels like they could have just, again, something of a simple explanation line of like, I'm working on my directing skills and I'm going to major in animation.
And then for my thesis or something, I've been assigned to direct this play. I don't know. They just go, what do you want to do? She's like, I'm director. And like, oh, do you want to be a director or are you?
It was just kind of all decided on that Babs was going to be the leader of this play, and like everyone just knew. And I was just
auditions are today, and the show's like on Saturday.
Okay, so let's talk about this calendar real quick because this did annoy me. Just for the other thing, I know I know they had to keep a timeline short based upon like just the beginning, middle, and end of this show, but what an unrealistic time frame for doing it. Nathan, you've been in many plays in high school.
What is this, a cartoon?
Yeah, what is this, a cartoon? But at the same time, it's like they're trying to teach me in this show, the focus of the show is, I would argue the focus of the show is not comedy. The focus of the show is to teach kids lessons. So already I'm not in a silly mood. I'm taking things in more seriously than I should be. Back to the thing. 5 days for a show, impossible. Start on Monday, show it on Saturday. I can't do that with middle school kids at my school. I've never done that in a high school play, let alone a.
This is a Looniversity.
This is a Looniversity. So
these cartoons, they have a little higher standards than your kids.
Apparently, they get also, they also get squashed and they come back to life and everything like that too. I know it's silly, but don't show me the calendar. Don't show me a calendar of events. It's not necessary. Just show that they're doing this, and that.
I guess we can figure out what year it is, right? Based on the dates.
Ooh, that's a good point. Okay, Nathan, work on that. Nathan's going to find out what year this happened. Okay. I will say one thing I really that did make me I think I chuckled, was, again, a Plucky line. Plucky is always going to say, if you ever, in all these episodes of the show, I always probably either point to Plucky or Hampton as the ones that say the funny line in each episode. And for me, it wasn't the jam thing that made me laugh. It was Plucky trying to audition as Bugs Bunny and saying he was going to get sustenance from the carrot and then having trouble eating that carrot.
The sun, kissing my rabbit face after these long winter months in my burrow where I hopped so much alone. Give me the strength needed to persevere, delicious carrot. So good. Clearly food.
that made me laugh. But there you go. Okay, I think we should move on to Act 2. Act 2, right? Is this me talking about Act 2?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about it.
It
All
is
right.
you.
It is me. I shall talk about Act 2. So the cast list goes up, and everyone's ready to see what part they are going to play. And Plucky is playing a cactus.
Babs had to make some tough choices.
No, I can't be on stage unrooted and speaking.
Buddy, calm down. What part did you... Hampton Pig as Bugs Bunny? What? And I'm playing Elmer Fudd, the villain? No. There's been a terrible mistake.
Hampton has a mental crisis right there. Starts like he can't do it. He gets a big stutter whenever which I thought was a character thing because he hasn't done the Porky Pig thing in other episodes that much, has he? Like maybe a little bit, but certainly not as much as today. Well, anyway, everyone's very upset. Babs is having trouble getting everyone to participate with only these 5 days. Hampton's way too nervous. And Plucky is coming up with this backstory to this cactus who doesn't have any lines. He gives a 2-hour monologue, which he says, "Oh, I know, it's way too short." Where it's like where the cactus grew up and was put into the desert with the saguaros. And Buster is just too cool for any of this and won't even show up to rehearsal. So opening night comes and it's a complete disaster. They freeze at the beginning. They won't say the lines, and then I think who knocks over the stage eventually? Is it Buster because of his? I think it's Buster.
Kind of Buster.
Buster gets into the harness, right?
Harness, yeah.
Kind of like a Peter Panish kind of thing going on. Swings around the place, and carrots get flung like arrows. Almost hit Sweetie. Not what am I going to say? Sweetie. Sneezer was what I'm going to say.
Oh,
almost hit Sneezer, but everyone's fine. But the whole place bursts into flames. And they say, well, we're just going to take a totally planned 10-minute break. And that's the end of the middle part. References in this middle part. This is where Bob Ross is shown. This, I think, is our perhaps biggest cultural reference, if you can even call it that.
Yeah,
Bob
probably.
Ross. Bob Ross. Kids still know Bob Ross. I'll go to like Hot Topic or these toy stores, and they'll still show Bob Ross stuff on he's just kind of the typical painter these days, I think. And
I love Bob Ross.
Yeah, I used to watch him when I was sick. It's like when I was at home,
I just watched him every day at like 2:30. I mean, it was like Saturday. It was Saturday. It would come on at like 2:30, and so for months I would watch it. And I got my parents to buy me. I was like in 5th grade, and I got my parents to buy me a bunch of like Bob Ross branded palette knives and fan brushes and stuff. But I never did get enough to like really make a painting because we didn't have enough money to buy all the paints. And back then, they didn't sell them as sets, and we didn't have a Michaels because Michaels didn't exist back then, or at least not here in Georgia. And so we'd have to go to these specialty shops. And the paint was just prohibitively expensive. And I'm so jealous of people nowadays that can just go to Michaels and just get a whole kit for a painting. One of these days I'm going to buy one for myself so I can do it also, because I still would like to do Bob Ross painting. But I got my own paints and stuff, but it was most like tempera paint, so it was cheap. Cheap paint.
Yeah, I always loved watching Bob Ross and thinking, "Oh, it's that simple, huh? Oh, okay." Because he made
it look simple.
He made it all look so simple. I would watch when I was a kid before cable. It was Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers early in the morning, me some cartoons, but then things quickly switched to talk shows and game shows or soap operas. So you had to be kind of creative with where the fun stuff was to watch. So Price is Right, and then maybe fall asleep with a fever watching Bob Ross as he painted on PBS.
He's very meditative to listen to. He's very tranquil.
Very. Now, Nathan, you put right here as a reference as the Peter Pan. This is a possible reference to the viral Peter Pan show disaster.
Have you seen that one where they're like on stage and like Peter Pan comes crashing through the window and
I think so.
Is it? Yeah,
I
bet.
It was a school play, right? It was.
It was like a school play, and also like someone's like randomly asleep, like Wendy just starts flying out of bed as she's trying to sleep, like this gets yanked. She's going, ah! There was a
great.
And they went on to Tosh.0, I think, eventually.
Oh wow, yeah, that's probably where I saw it then. You ever hear of Peter Pan? You ever hear of the play that goes wrong?
Yes.
Okay, so they had a Peter Pan of that. Peter Pan Goes Wrong, and on the BBC, and it is very funny. And then they've done a Christmas Carol and stuff like that, but I recommend that. Peter Pan Goes Wrong. Good. I think at one point I watched the whole thing on YouTube, but I think the BBC is probably taking it down by now. Since they're not making, it's probably on BritBox, I'm assuming. So check it out there. Why not? Okay. Anything in the second act that was funny for you guys?
I just looked up some things here. So the Greenport Peter Pan fiasco is what it's called, and that's where you can see Peter Pan crashing through some walls.
All right. I'll put audio of it right now. Whoa.
Sounds like crashing.
It sounded like a lot of crashing.
But it's funny to watch. Everyone was fine. Everyone's fine.
They were young. Bones heal faster when you're young.
Exactly.
Well,
I thought it was weird that Babs gets the role that she wants, but doesn't give anyone else the role that they want. It's kind of like...
And to be fair, also to Babs, which she did sit down with Hampton at one point. Like, at first I'm watching this
in Act 3, though.
Is that when she sits down with him?
That's true. In Act 2,
in Act 2,
the breathing thing.
She does a breathing meditative exercise with Hampton because he's having a thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, this is good. Like, look, I'm a teacher. I do at least one or two plays in my school every year, and I make movies with my students, and I've had kids that are nervous about playing parts that they don't want to, or whatever. And at that part where she sat down with him to do breathing thing, that was cool.
Now Hampton, oink in, oink out, oink in, oink out, oink in, hold, and oink out. Now let's try a line. First day on this glorious campus. That sounded great. How do you feel? I was barely nervous that time. Thanks, Babs.
What I can't blame Babs necessarily for not communicating her vision in this, because in the second act, when she's showing them the casting, I get the feeling that she was just about to say what her vision was, but then all the cast leaves in a cloud of dust, except for Hampton, who says goodnight, and he falls on the floor. Well, she tried to give him the vision. She tried to explain why everyone is cast differently at that point in Act 2, and they didn't want to listen to her. Honestly, these people shouldn't have done this play to begin with. Everyone didn't want to be in the play. They had a very short timeline to do it. Stop, Looney characters.
Yeah. Well,
Stop it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I can't blame Babs as much as I initially wanted to when I first watched this episode. But let's talk about the last part right here, where Babs learns a lesson. Nathan, what happens in Act 3?
So Act 3. All right. So Babs is crying in the bathroom. They're pouring out from behind the stall so much that Sweetums has to come bring her a bucket that she can cry into and fill up. And that's when Babs is like, I just wanted to do a play with non-traditional roles or whatever. And then Sweet's like, yeah, you should tell the rest of the cast that. And she's like, oh, okay. So she does that. She goes in and tells everyone wanted to do non-traditional casting. So, Lucky's like, oh, I should be talking, he wanted to do a whole 2-hour monologue or something. And now he's like, no, you can do more with just your face with a silent role than people can do with a speaking one, because you're such a great actor. And he's like, oh, okay. And Buster, like I gave you the villain because it's a juicier role than Bugs Bunny's role. And then Hampton's like, Bugs used to have a stutter too, Hampton. And he's like, what, really? And then so all these people are like, oh, okay, maybe Phoebe never got explained to why she got the
Phoebe,
maybe
because you're the only girl or
you're
something.
The only girl. We cut Lola. Sorry.
Yeah, and then Lola wasn't even in the thing, which didn't make any sense. Side note, did not make any sense to me because Lola was not a character until Space Jam in the 90s, and this play was supposed to be taking part in the 30s.
But she was just
you're writing yourself into a corner, writers. And I don't like this corner.
She could be part of the freshman class. She didn't star in anything until years later.
She just held back many, many years.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh,
yeah,
poor Lola.
Fine. I have a theory that Dizzy was going to play Lola, but Dizzy left. So because everyone else was assigned a role, Dizzy was still on there and wasn't assigned to anyone, but was just crossed out. So it was like, who was Dizzy going to play? Lola. Bunny.
There we are.
All right. Or maybe Granny. Dizzy may have been Granny, but then it's like, well, since Dizzy's not here, we'll have to put Fifi as Granny, So
right.
There could have been something like that. So Dizzy kind of messed it all up. Anyways, so yeah, the students are now super excited for their show based on the vision that Babs has given them. And so they give a great performance. Lucky does his fun little tapping over the shoulder on Granny, and she's looking both ways, and everyone laughs and ha ha ha, and Buster comes in at the end and boots up all the bunnies, and everyone cheers, and then they get a standing ovation, and then at the Lubru, they read a review that confirms it was a great success. Bugs Bunny congratulates Hampton on doing such a great job. And saying, yeah, sometimes I even get my stutter back or something, and then...
I got my stutter back.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what that is.
It's like sexy back.
Oh, okay. If you say so.
I got my stutter back. Yeah. Well, that is that's the thing, right? That's the episode.
Yeah. That's how it ends.
All right. Well, yeah, I did notice the whole thing about stuttering. There's a lot of I thought of Joe Biden, and so
I put that down.
Nathan said, "Hey, Bugs having a stutter. Bugs is old. Joe Biden's old. They both have stutters.
We're born the same year, right? I don't know.
Maybe. Bugs might be a little older, I think.
Yeah, Bugs is a little older.
Okay. Well, Hampton, J Pig, the last lines are that's all, folks. And if you didn't know what that is a reference to, I'm not going to tell you. Watch a freaking cartoon, people. Okay. Yeah, this is an interesting part because Babs finally got to talk about what her vision was, and then people understood it, and it's so sad that she couldn't tell people her vision until halfway through the play.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they only had 5 days, so it makes sense.
And they only had 5 days. Yeah, everything was rushed. This play was way too rushed. I don't understand these people. Okay.
They did a great job.
I promise I'm not going to talk about the play being too rushed one more time. Nathan, Kelly, I'll start with Kelly. Kelly, was there anything in this third part that, I don't know, maybe that was interesting or funny?
As far as interesting, I thought it was interesting that Babs did have a vision, and the way she explained it, because she was leaning away from the more obvious character portraying the particular role and wanted to lean into some of their more so abilities, or let them shine in different ways than what they thought. And I think sometimes that's what a director should do. They see something in the actor and help to bring that out. You hear all the time about how actors go and read for one role, and then they get a totally different role. Like I think Charisma Carpenter and Buffy read for Buffy, and I think Buffy read for Cordelia, if I have it right. And but they got the opposite roles because the casting director and the director and the producers see something that maybe the actors and the talent don't see, and how they can bring these characters to life. So I think Babs kind of had a very interesting take on that, and definitely I'm sure the end result was far more interesting than to keep using that word than what it would have been otherwise.
I agree. I mean, yeah, I just wish that they gave her the opportunity, obviously, but then you wouldn't have the story. Whatever. Nathan, what about you? Anything funny, interesting in this part right here?
Yeah, this episode takes place in 2021 or 2010.
Oh, you found the year.
Yeah. So here's the possible years: 2010, 2021, 2027, 2032. I don't think we want to go any further than that.
So we might be we could be coming up. Ooh, I did a thumbs up emoji on the thing. So we could be coming up. We could be coming up with the future coming up. The future is coming.
Yeah, it could be happening in 2027. Will be the next time November 15th happens. So on a Monday. So which is with this week of. But yeah, I think it was interesting her casting choices. What I thought was strange was the whole Elmer Fudd doing the whole Wabbit. The whole play is kind of strange because it's called Wabbit Season, right? And it's all based on Elmer Fudd, I guess, going on like a shooting rampage, shooting all the students.
Thank you.
And there's like all explosions and fireworks and things like that. And I'm like, is this why Elmer Fudd's missing?
When they first said, I think that might be a reason. No, when they first said the play Wabbit Season, I thought, they're going to do a recreation of the Wabbit Season, Duck Season cartoon.
Yeah, which is like the first Looney Tunes cartoon with Bugs Bunny or something, right? It's the first Bugs Bunny cartoon, right? I think.
Like I'm thinking of the one with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck together.
Yeah,
and Elmer
maybe.
Fudd.
Maybe I'm just okay.
I mean, I don't know what the title of the first Bugs Bunny cartoon was, but anyway, that's the one I was thinking of. Wabbit Season, Duck Season, Wabbit Season, but they weren't doing that. Instead, it's just them saying, "Wow, what a lovely day here at Acme! It's the first day." So the whole play is about people that came to school one day, and then it ended with. Finally, Elmer Fudd comes with a gun saying, it's Wabbit Season.
Looks like the first day of school is also the first day of Wabbit Season.
Swings, fireworks go off and say, villain, the end. Right? That's how the play ended. And everyone cheered.
And he's never been seen again.
And somewhere there was a granny and a cactus had a scene together, and the cactus was just kind of poking its head in, and somehow that was the crowd thought that was hilarious.
Apparently, it wasn't historically accurate though, because Granny says, "I don't remember this stuff happening." But yeah, I was looking for Elmer Fudd. I thought this was actually an episode. Well, Elmer Fudd's going to be in the episode this day because he has to. See how he's being portrayed. No, Elmer Fudd's in the play. He's a sneezer. He plays.
Well, he's the actual Elmer Fudd.
No, I mean he's
in the play
playing Elmer Fudd, and he's watching it from the audience.
Whoa!
Not Elmer Fudd. Sorry, I'm thinking of
Yosemite Sam.
Yosemite Sam, yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Yosemite Sam.
Thank you. Oh God,
you wrote that incorrectly in the document, and I went and changed it because I was like, wait a minute.
What did I put?
You put Buster was Yosemite, and so I changed it, and because I remember distinctly Sneezer was Yosemite because he looked so cute in his little mustache.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute.
So no Elmer Fudd to be seen in this.
Yeah, no Elmer Fudd. There's still a Fudd Hall though too.
There's a Fudd Hall. So there's now two statues of Elmer Fudd that we're aware of now,
Yeah.
And yet he's never around. And the stupid look. I would appreciate it if you're going to do a cartoon about doing a play. You have to put some thought into what this play is going to be about, other than just a random line and then the end. That's just none of the play that they were watching seemed entertaining. But again, that's not the focus of this show. The focus is we have a lesson to teach kids, which is communication is important with your friends. That's what the focus was on. Communicate things with your friends so they don't get mad at you. Comedy is, oh yeah, should we be funny on this show? So even when the stuff is being shown, it's like the cactus was jumping around. That was funny. It's like, no, that's not funny. A cactus, no.
What explanations?
No, that's a game of peekaboo. And that's not funny unless I'm a 2-year-old. So, anyway, the audience reactions to that, I was actually, what I thought would have been kind of funny was if they had the cactus watching the show. Because they brought up the statues,
cactus. Yeah.
Right? The random cactus. They talked about these are the founding members of the first class, and they showed the cactus as a member of the first class. Shouldn't they have had the cactus in the audience? Like maybe he would have been like really critical of the Plucky's performance or something like that. You know, like
I think it would just be him,
or just a cactus sitting there. Yeah, that would have been funny too. But show the cactus.
Nothing.
Yeah, show the cactus in the audience. Like
put like monocle or something on it, or something to make him look like he's slightly older.
Right, that would have been funny, but it wasn't. Well, I think that's about it for that. I can't think of anything else to criticize about this episode. Let's go ahead and get to our water tower rating. Okay, out of 5 water towers, how many water towers would you give this episode? I'll go first because I never do, and I'm just going to stop talking about it. 2 water towers for me, and it's not. I just wish it was funny. The story was all there, but pump it up with some jokes. They're non-existent practically. There's like I could count on when you can count on one hand how many jokes are in a 25, 22, or 20 whatever cartoon. Less than 5 that I could think of that were actually visible like moments. That's bad. I don't want that. Ratio's bad. Plot was there though. I like the plot as much as I could stand the timeline. Mm-hmm. But Kelly, what about you? How many would you give for this episode?
Because I never go with the same number you go with. I'm gonna go. Well, you went with 2, so I guess we'll go with 3. It was fine. I always say that. I really, as a writer, I should come up with better ways to say that.
Get the thesaurus.
Was adequate.
It was mid.
Mid.
How about that?
Yeah.
How about that in the new lingo of the day? It was mid, and like you said, it just not really great. Humor. The story was there. It was a good, valuable lesson. So at least they were able to kind of tie all that in together and have a neat resolution. But just not funny. Like I think we already mentioned, like the 1 or 2 lines that were really clever, and that was kind of about it. I miss having a show. Like with the original Animaniacs, that was just so darn quotable.
Right.
And I mean, even after just one watch, you know, I'd start quoting lines from the episode. Because I need some punchy dialogue.
I saw your Facebook post about how Spielbergian when you wrote it down in your diary, right? Of the exact time.
Well, I said I talked about something. Oh, I was talking about Sequest and how, you know, it was a Spielbergian show, and I was like, wait a minute. So I wrote this in like October 1993. So when did Meatballs or Consequences come out? Because did I coin the phrase Spielbergian or did they? And it turned out that episode had come out the the week before I wrote that diary entry. So I was already adding it to my lexicon, the word Spielbergian. And of course, I usually say House Spielbergian. But I just think it's so hysterical that it's documented in writing that within a week of that episode, I'm already using Spielbergian. And no doubt as a direct result of that episode.
Right. And yeah, I agree. We are missing those punchlines that I'll think about for like a week later, and I can't think of any from the show. Nathan, what about you?
Oh, this episode, 3.5 water towers.
Really?
Yeah, that's easy to write the show notes for. The story's very straightforward. Not a lot of references to find, and the couple of jokes were fine. And it really goes into that lore of the Elmer Fudd. Like, what did he do? You can really start.
Yeah, in the cartoon,
so like,
referencing a possible school shooting. When I saw this as like guns and schools at the end of this thing, this is how you're ending this play. Oh boy.
Yeah. So you can get some, like, it goes deep. So I think I'm glad as a season 1 finale, you're like, oh, what's going to happen with Elmer Fudd? So it's kind of like, yeah, so we can find out in season 2. So what a good way to end it. So there we go. Yeah, I'll give it 3.5. There we go.
Okay. Well, if you have stayed through to the end of this, I think it's time for a special announcement of what we're going to be talking about in our next review episode. We're going to take a break from Looniversity before my brain explodes, because there's a certain show that we have not talked about really once or twice or at all.
Seen? I don't know.
Yeah. We've not talked about Hysteria. We've talked about it in passing, and of course it's, songs from it are featured on Animaniacs in concert, but we haven't really watched any episodes to talk and review. So Tom Ruegger is going to give us a selection, I would say, a list of what he would say are his favorite episodes of Hysteria, and then we're going to watch one of them on our next episode, because you can watch episodes of Hysteria right now if you have MeTV Toons, I think it's what it is, on a good old-fashioned antenna on your TV. You can watch it Saturday mornings, I believe right now, from 9 to 10 a.m. on Saturday mornings. So let's go. And with, this being such a historic year, it's the last year of the American democracy, we got to really kind of pump it up like this is historic. That we should talk about history. So I think we'll do a Hysteria episode next time. What will that be? I don't know, because I haven't even asked Tom for that list yet. But I did mention it once in passing, and he said he'd do it. So I'm going to call him on that, and we'll do a Hysteria episode. That'll be fun. Well, let's go and get to some contact information. Nathan, where can people find you online?
Oh, probably X or whatever. Django FT. I'm there.
Sure you are. And Kelly, what about you?
Oh, wow. I don't do like the X much or the Instagram. But I guess I'm still there on X, like Yoda Princess, YODAPRNCSS, and I use the same name on Instagram. But I don't post. I haven't posted anything on either one of them, really.
I tagged you on a Instagram video showing Spielberg. Oh, you're going to want to see it.
I'm pretty sure I haven't seen it because I don't go on there much.
Oh, go on Instagram to find animated Steven Spielberg. It will make you very happy. I saw it.
Oh, is it? Because I need something to have to make me happy.
This will be it's animated Steven Spielberg. You're gonna like it.
Okay. For some reason, I don't get Instagram notifications when people like message me or whatever on there. I guess I need to check my notifications.
Check it, and if you don't see it, then let me know, and I'll send it again. Well, as for the Animaniacast, we're on Instagram, Twitter, X, Facebook, Threads, other stuff, YouTube. Subscribe to us on all the podcast stuff. You know what to do. We're also a proud member of the RetroZap podcast community, and you can go to retrozap.com every day to get amazing podcasts and articles. Check them out. It's a great group of stuff, and it celebrates stuff that you like to watch and see, and you watch and see, and that's right. That's my verbal stuff going on. We're tired. Well, everybody, that'll do it for today's episode. So, for Nathan and Kelly, this is Joey saying good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
This podcast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, Tiny Toon Adventures, Freakazoid, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animanicast unless otherwise indicated.
Good night.